I noticed all these methods were still speeding up hair loss. So my goal and my mission was I got to find a way of giving somebody more hair, but at the same time, keep their existing hair healthy and use their hair. That was my driving force.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews.
Hello, and welcome to the My Future Business Show. My name's Rick Nuske. If this is your first time here on the show joining us, welcome. I know you're in for a treat. And if you've supported the show for any length of time, thank you so very much for that support. What's wonderful about that is it's the show is making a difference for you, and that's making all the difference for me. Now, speaking about people who are doing amazing things that are making a difference, on today's show, I'm with the wonderful Dino Dondiego. Welcome to the show, Dino.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Absolutely, a pleasure to have you here. Now, you and I were speaking just prior to the call about your book and how you're the author and founder of Invisablend, and we're going to be talking about your wonderful work that you're doing in the hair loss space and how the revolutionary technology that you've created is changing the way we manage hair loss and treat it, and how business owners and entrepreneurs can get involved with Invisablend. But before we do that, Dino, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling you from New Jersey. My office is in Englewood, New Jersey.
Fantastic. Now, is that home or do you get to travel around?
I travel around at times, but my main office is in New Jersey, where we do the work,
right.
Part of the work.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, what we like to do is we always talk about the people behind the business, because we know as a foundation, businesses don't generally change too much, but what is unique is the people that run them. So I'm wondering if we can talk a little bit about, I guess, your background. I'm wondering, do you enjoy doing things when you're not working, and do you get much time to have some downtime?
I have the ability to have downtime, but I'm an entrepreneur by heart. Relaxing to me is studying business and doing things in business.
Yeah.
So that's what I really enjoy to do. I enjoy business in general.
Fantastic. Well, I can understand that. I feel very much the same way. Now, tell us a little bit about how you learn. Do you like reading books? Do you watch movies? How do you gain knowledge?
Yeah, I do read books. I probably read close to about 1,000 books.
Wow.
In addition to that, I also listen to audios for years, for 30 years plus. So I put a lot of time into my driving time, because from my home to my office, it's about a good solid hour from door to door. So I got 2 hours of gaining knowledge going both ways, and I would listen to any kind of audio.
Yeah, fantastic. So you must listen to some fairly influential people. And I think about that question when we're growing up in our early years. Who did you have around you that was really influential in your life?
Yeah, probably a gentleman named Brian Tracy. He was probably the foundation of a lot of stuff business-wise, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, as you moved on into different spaces in, I guess, your professional background, is there anybody new that you're currently following that you really are impressed by?
Not really. I mean, I really kind of study the field, study entrepreneurship. I'm always constantly studying. Anybody I can get my hands on that I feel is interested, I'll study deeper and deeper until I feel like I capped off with them.
Yep.
And then I'll move on.
Now, I remember when I was growing up, my first ever entrepreneurial experience was washing cars. What was yours?
Oh, well, probably my first experience was I was probably 6 years old, and I took old newspapers and I walked around and sold them. And then I remember one gentleman saying, "Hey, kid, this newspaper is from last week." And I said to him, "That's right. It's the old news, and you can only get it from me." So I think
I love it.
Okay. So I think from a young age, it was just built in. I love building stuff. I like creating stuff. I'm an inventor also. I like
You
inventing
certainly are,
things.
yes.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I guess, moving into your first ever business, what was the first business that you ever created?
First business was the hair business, actually,
Mm.
because by trade, since I was 18 years old, I was a hairdresser. Okay. So that was a little teeny profession, but then I had this entrepreneurship boiling up
The
inside
streak
me.
inside of you.
So, yeah. So then I opened up a business and then kept taking extra steps after that.
So tell us a little bit about some of the experiences that you must have had as a hairdresser, because I know that when I go to a hairdresser, I have the most wonderful conversations with the people that are cutting my hair.
Right.
Did you enjoy that time?
Part of it, it was a good base experience, but when I first got into doing hair, even at 18 years old after I was licensed, I did hair and anything to do with adding hair, meaning any kind of hair replacement whatsoever. I studied everything in the field,
Mm.
surgical, not surgical, growing hair, anything. I studied everything I could. I got certified in all these different things, and I was trying all these different methods, making people very happy,
Mm.
although I found there was a missing link. And the missing link was every method that was out there in the industry to
Yeah.
learn and to implement, they all had one thing in common, and that was they made you lose more hair by adding more hair.
Oh.
And that bugged me. So, think about it. You're helping somebody, you're making them really happy. You're really changing their life because from a stage of just cutting hair to another stage of somebody's thin and they're emotionally upset about it, whether they show it or not, and then you give them hair, their whole face lights up, their life lights up. So that was a great part. But then I noticed all these methods were still speeding up hair loss. So my goal and my mission was I got to find a way of giving somebody more hair, but at the same time, keep their existing hair healthy and use their hair. That was my driving force.
That was the mission behind the mission, as it were.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about, I guess, some of the technology that goes into this, because I know that there's certainly a lot to unpack here. Let's
Right.
start off by talking about, I guess, the actual process. Does it hurt?
It doesn't hurt. So here's what I did. The mission, as we said, was really to find a way to give somebody more hair, but use their hair and keep their own hair safe. So what I did is I started fooling around with different threads or filaments, and I invented something called a microstrand. And a microstrand is a filament or thread as fine as a hair and soft as a hair. Matter of fact, if you put one hair in the palm of your hand and you put one microstrand thread in the palm of your hand, it'll look and feel the same. And then I took it and networked those threads together, making sort of like an open spider web with diamond openings in it. And then I took a microscopic tip instrument or apparatus that has a microscopic tip hook that's only big enough to grab one hair. It's almost like a crochet hook, but the hook part is only big enough to grab one human hair. And I took that and took one human hair at a time and tied it onto those microstrands that are made into a web with diamond openings. Does that make sense so far?
Absolutely, it does. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about, is this a permanent thing?
It's more of what's called a semi-permanent. So I also wanted to help everyone because I noticed in addition to all these methods that were helping people, which was great, they were all causing additional hair loss or speeding up hair loss, but also what they were doing is they were very specific for specific situations. So hair extensions were for certain situations. Hair pieces, hair systems, hair toppers, other methods like this were very for specific situations. So I wanted to invent something that was more of a cure-all. A cure-all to me is one method that can be customized for anybody on earth, no matter what the hair problem is. because there's all kinds of different hair problems. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing. I wonder, given that there's also a wide range, a large spectrum of color, you must have a manufacturing process behind all of this to create these wonderful micro strands that you've just talked about. Tell us a little bit about that and how you match hair and color and all this type of thing.
So the interesting thing about hair color is that you could match it perfectly if you want. If the client wants a perfect match of the same color, we match it. But let's say the client want a shade lighter or a shade darker or less red or more red or highlights. Because the microstrand has one human hair at a time on it, spread apart in the open microstrand with diamond openings, when you blend it, it'll completely blend in, even if it has different colors. So as an example, if I had a brunette, whether it's a guy or a lady, and I had a microstrand with blonde human hair in it, and I held it next to the person, it would look like totally an opposite match, not matching at all. But then if I took that blonde hair on the microstrand and blended it in between the brunette's hair, it would match perfectly. It would create highlights. So this is the only method that's going to match no matter what color you put in. Make sense? Any questions about that?
No, absolutely fantastic. Now, does it take long to, start from the start? And do you have to, go through some sort of an onboarding process to determine what a customer is looking for?
Well, when we're training hairdressers in salon, yes, we have a training platform that's on video, and then we also support them, right? But the process is that when a client comes to us, we have to look at their hair, find out where it's thin and where the percentage of thinness is in each area. Then we have to diagram out how we're going to make the microstrand. We might put 25% of hair in the front, 50% hair in the middle, 75% hair in the back, whatever they need. If they need a higher percentage in one area and a lower in the other, we'll design that microstrand to be like that with different size openings and different hair densities per opening. Then it has to be custom made for them, and it takes about 8 weeks to custom make their microstrand for them. Then after it's custom made, then it's ready to apply. Any questions about that?
No, fantastic. Does it ever need to be like topped up? Do you find that clients come back and ask for more in addition to the?
Sure. And then that kind of leads into the maintenance of it. It is non-surgical. It's classified as semi-permanent. And what semi-permanent means is once you have it in, you sleep with it, you shower with it, you shampoo with it, you swim with it. So it's full-time hair. You don't remove it. It's your hair that you can brush through and do anything with that you would do with your own. Now, it's attached to your own hair. So your own hair grows an average of around a ½ inch a month. So that means once a month, you have to touch it up. You have to re-secure it about once a month. That's the sort of upkeep. Very similar to hair color. You get hair color, it's permanent hair color, but you get roots and you got to get it touched up.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Now, is it available for anyone, and is there a particular type of client that will be better suited for than others?
No, not at all. It's really what I was saying before. It's a cure-all, because a cure-all means it could be for a man or lady. It could be for somebody that wants the subtle fullness, whether it's one area all over the head. It could be somebody that went through chemo and has no hair. It could be somebody that has what's called alopecia universale and doesn't have any hair. Any spectrum. So it works evenly with anybody because of that microstrand invention. Because that microstrand invention is sort of like an invisible spider web with diamond openings with single hairs on it, and it comes in different size openings. Because of that, it can be customized for literally any hair situation.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Absolutely loving this call. Now, I just think for the sake of context and just so that people who are on today's call who are interested in knowing more about you, you've actually lectured on hair loss and treatments and the likes. Tell us a little bit about, I guess, that part of your life, and what's the type of audience that you speak to?
Right. Anyone that has any kind of concern with hair loss, whether it's a hair professional or whether it's a group that is an individual group about hair loss. So if I find any kind of groups, whether they're end users, meaning they need hair, or whether they're hair professionals, or whether it's a combination of both, whenever I find that, I'll volunteer to speak, to educate, because that's my profession. I know hair very, very well. I've studied hair in general. I've studied hair loss, and I've studied every method of adding hair, whether surgical or non-surgical. So I know the industry very well, so I can give very, very good guidance in that area.
I'd love to go back to the genesis of the business. What year did you found it, and when did you come up for the idea? When did it click to you, and when did that, I guess, that light bulb moment occur to you that, hey, I'm onto something here?
Yeah. Actually, in 1989, when I started my business, I created something not as good as what I have right now, but similar. That was a method of adding hair on this sort of open web that gave the client more hair, plus gave full access to the scalp and kept their hair safe. And then about 9.5 years ago, then I fine-tuned something called what I call the microstrand, okay? Because now I made this sort of web that it's 10 times stronger than hair, and it's translucent, meaning if you take the microstrand, if I hold it against my yellow shirt, you'll see it. But if I hover over my skin or my scalp, it literally disappears. So when you take one human hair at a time and put one human hair at a time on that, and you blend it between the hair, it's gone. It dissipates. So people love that because when they watch our videos, it's not like you have to educate them that much. You let them watch the video. They see the actual product. They see how it blends on, and they see how it disappears, and they see how their scalp is open and how they're using their hair with it. So it makes a big impact on individuals just watching the videos.
I can just imagine the transformations that you've seen with some of your clients. Tell us a little bit about some of the successes and the feedback that you're getting.
Yeah. So here's something very interesting about that. It runs the spectrum. So as an example, I can get somebody that is a guy that just has a little thinness in the crown and a 2x2 area, that little, and just wants to fill it in very subtly. Then I can have a lady that is afraid of having more hair and she wants just a subtle look on the whole top, and I could fill in that in a different way. Then I can have a woman that says, all my hair is thin and I want a lot more, and I can give them a lot more. So think of it from the spectrum of adding the smallest amount of hair that would almost look like you shouldn't even do it. Like it just gave them a little enhancement all the way through every step to giving somebody hair down to the waist. And think of it for anybody, any hair texture whatsoever. When I mean hair texture could be wavy, straight, wavy, deeper wavy, loose curl, tighter curl, all the way to an afro texture, all the way to a kinky texture, any textures in between. So it runs the gamut in a sense of being able to help anyone. And that's what's so pleasurable about it. You can help anyone to achieve any look they want to achieve.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What occurs to me is, and what blows my mind, Dino, is the ability that you have to actually just brush as normal. How is it that it's actually connected? I'd just love to take a bit more of a deep dive into this, if you could explain it for us.
Sure. So think about this. The microstrand is literally as thin as a hair, the diameter of a hair. So if you take a microstrand and it lays against your scalp and your hair is through it, it's like you laid one hair in between your hairs. It's so fine that you could take a brush and scrape it down to the scalp where it would hurt. Not that you should do that, but you could take a comb or a brush and go right down to the scalp because you're adding one human hair at a time on filaments that are as thin as a hair. So it allows you to touch your head, feel your head. To pull your hair, you're always pulling your hair and the added hair because they're intertwined evenly. And then that's why you can brush right down to the scalp. And hairdressers and salons love this when they find out about it, and they want to offer it to their clients because it's so much more advanced than any other method that they can learn or find out about or get a product from a distributor.
I want to explore this deeply because I think this is a great opportunity to, I guess, open the box, as it were, as to this wonderful product. Now, what are some of the other common questions that new clients ask you about this? Not only from a salon's perspective, but from an actual customer's perspective.
Yeah, they want to know things like, how long does it last? So here's the answer to how long it lasts. It lasts 3 to 4 years. Now, they're very shocked with that because any hair extension, any kind of hair extension, any kind of hair system, any kind of topper, any of those categories or methods, they last 3 to 4 months. Mm-hmm. So now when you find out everything lasts about 3 to 4 months, maybe 5, and there's another product that'll last 3 to 4 years, that's a major breakthrough, okay? So that's one thing that's very enlightening for people. Another thing is they really care about, what can I do with it? Do I swim with it? Do I have to follow certain rules? And the answer is follow the same rules you should be following with your own hair. Now, there's a good and bad with that. You know, anything you would do with your own hair that's not good for your own hair is not going to be good for the blended hair. And anything you do that's good for your own hair is going to be good for the blended hair. So the only instructions we give people is you could do anything as long as what you do and what you use is good for your hair and scalp, then it's good for the blended hair also. See that point?
Absolutely makes 100% sense to me. Now, I'm wondering, in all of this, how are you getting your message about this product out to the wider world, both in the USA as well as, I guess, abroad? Are you going abroad with this?
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of different ways. I mean, I do social media. I also do a lot of marketing. I do marketing through Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube and Google, you know, so, and I keep broadening that. I keep it going broader and broader and broader, and I keep making more videos. Presently, I have about 500 or so videos on my YouTube channel, and I want to just keep producing videos because I want to keep educating the public at large and the hair professional industry. Because this is what's so important about that. I could reach out to the world, but if I have hairdressers, hair professionals, and salons offering this, well, they're going to reach out to areas where I can't, or it's going to take me longer to reach out to. And hairdressers and salons still have their own audience that relies on them, that trusts them. So when they're offering a technology like this, it's going to open it up more to other areas. So that's why I developed a training platform. I put together a training platform. It's designed like a book with 5 chapters, and they go through chapter 1 through 5, and there's videos in there. So now I could reach out, let's say I reach out to somebody in the UK. They don't have to come and fly into New Jersey and USA to get trained. They just will have entered into my training platform, watch the videos, and from the videos, they'll be able to get trained. And now they can offer this technology. And if they need any support whatsoever, they contact our office and we help them any way they need. That way, all these different areas, different countries throughout the world, they can take advantage of this technology and offer this to their particular audiences.
So tell me a little bit about the feedback that you're getting from professional salons about your
Right.
product.
They're very inspired by it because they're finding out the same thing. So I test them by asking them a question. I'll say, are you presently adding hair? And what I mean by adding hair is, are you presently doing a hair extension, doing some sort of topper? And if they say no, then I say, why? Most of the time they say, because it's not healthy and I care about my client's hair. So once in a while I'll get that kind of salon or that kind of
Hmm.
hairdresser that says, I don't want to do those things because they make the client lose more hair. Another set of hair professionals in salons, they'll say, yes, I do hair extensions or toppers or both. Then I ask the question, what results do you get? Do you get any additional hair loss from it? And I get at least 99% of them saying, absolutely. I'm helping people, but there's nothing out there that'll keep their own hair safe. So they all seem to agree, or at least 99%, or even 99.9% of them, majority of them are all saying, yes, I do get that. I'm still helping people and I still want to help people, but I am getting lost. But when they see our videos and they see the microstrand invention, it's illogical to them that now they can make their client's hair fuller, use their client's hair, and keep their client's hair safe. So they see that boom right from the video. That's what's very inspiring to them.
Dino, I love how you're building a network of professionals that you can trust, but you've obviously got a validation process to make sure that people who use your proprietary product are a good fit for the mission that you're on with Invisablend. Tell us a little bit about that part of the process when you're selecting professional salons to work with you. Is there some sort of a certification process behind it?
There is, and we want to make sure that each hair professional is going to take the time to learn this. So there, in a sense, there's different kinds of hairdressers. There's hairdressers that are involved with what they're doing now. And after you interview them, you might find out some hairdressers are very involved in what they're doing and they don't want to take the extra time to advance themselves. That's almost like a basis. And then you'll find another group that are always looking to raise the bar, take more courses, offer better things. So when I find somebody that has an advancement mind like that, like I want to do something better, I want to learn something more, I want to offer something better all the time. It's never ending. You can always do something better. Even me, I'm always looking to invent something better. When I find out through interviewing them that they're that kind of hair professional or that kind of salon that wants to advance themselves, they're the type of hair professional that will put the time in and go out of the way to learn this properly and offer it properly to their audiences around them.
Yeah, that's great feedback. I'm pretty sure there'd be some pretty excited people on the line today who are professional salon owners, and they'd be certainly reaching out to you. Now, earlier in the call, I mentioned that you'd authored a book, and that book is called Stop Additional Hair Loss. What inspired you to write this book? I think it's obvious, but...
Yeah. So still, to elaborate on that, what inspired me to write it, I wanted to put all the details down into one component, you might say, okay, into a book. And when you do that into a book, it could be a paperback, it could be a Kindle, it could be also on audio, like I have it on audibles, so some people can listen to it. Like I told you earlier in this conversation, I not only read all these books, but every day traveling back and forth to my office an hour each way, I would always listen to tapes, anything that would educate me. I enjoyed it. So the reason why I wrote this book is I wanted to break it down in steps. I wanted to break down every method by a category. See, there's many, let me give you one example. Hair extensions. There's not one hair extension. There's probably 50 to 70 different types of hair extensions with all different names. And a lot of them are similar, and some of them are a little different, but they all fall under the category of hair extensions. It's the same thing with other methods. So I wanted to break down all the methods, why they're good and why they're not good. And then I broke down and explained why they're good from the sense of giving more hair and even making someone look natural, but they're not so good because they all have a common denominator. And that common denominator is they speed up hair loss. So I wanted to first educate the public at large and the professionals about that, even though they know it. I want to get that across in their head that this is what's happening right now. And then after that, I wanted to break down how hair can be added in a way that uses their existing hair and keeps their hair safe. What are the principles of how you can achieve that? Then from there, I broke down into why and how I invented that microstrand and broke down the details of the microstrand, much more than I'm even doing here, that I can have the time to do here. So they understand it more from step by step, like what I experienced, okay? And I feel like by doing some education like that would give a more thorough understanding of what's happening in the industry, what are the main principles that are so important to follow to keep hair safe while making it fuller, and also what's available to them, and it's available worldwide. So that was my reasoning for that.
It's a very granular approach, and I think there's some definite worthwhile reading in that book. So where would people buy that?
Yeah, best place is probably Amazon. It's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble. They can go to my website if they want to go to my website, which is Invisablend.com. So it's available basically anywhere.
So on your Invisablend website, tell us a little bit about what people will find. Is that a channel for both customers and professionals to either become agents or actual customers of yours?
It is. If they go to Invisablend.com, they're going to see a lot of videos. So they can pop in there, watch one video, or they can pop in there and just watch video after video after video and get more and more educated about everything. And then there's a certification page / button. So for the hair professionals, they would learn everything that the end user would learning, so they understand the method, the product completely. And then if they want to go to the certification page / button, they would go there and they would apply to become certified.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. Now, I'd love to talk about some of the relationships that you must be forging as a result of all the wonderful work you're doing, not only with customers, but with the professional network that you're building. Tell us how important those relationships are to building your Invisablend community.
Right. Yeah, relationships are very, very important because you want to have a good relationship with the end user wearing it. You want to make them feel like you're there for them and you're supporting them. So I have a staff that does that along with me too, to make sure no matter what they want, we go out of their way. So as an example on that, just speaking about the end user, we give them what's called a 30-day fitting period. So when they get this, they have 30 days to make alterations. Even if they change their mind, I change my mind, I want highlights. Change my mind, I want gray hair. Change my mind, I want curly hair or wavy hair. We give them the ability to wear it and experience it. And then if they want any alterations, we don't charge for that. So that's an example of standing behind the product and supporting a relationship from the end user standpoint. Now let's flip into the hair professional. You want to give them full support. So what I do is I allow them to be able to contact us in multiple different ways, whether it's email, whether it's texting, anything like that, if they have a question, or even if, and this is very, very interesting, if they have a client and they want either one of my staff consultants or they want me to explain it to one of their clients or answer their clients' questions, I'll do that for them on a video call where the hairdresser has their client in their chair. I'm looking at their hairdresser and the client, and they're both asking me questions. So by doing that, I'm giving good support and I'm building a strong relationship with the hair professional because I'm there for them. And when I do something like that, usually I do that for a handful of times, and then it's sort of like hands-on training, and they learn more and more from seeing that and experiencing that. And then they need me less and less after that, even though I'm there for them.
I love what you're doing with this wonderful product, Invisablend. Now, if anybody who's on the call today wants to get their hand on the book, I think the best place to start would be Amazon, as we've just talked about, but also make sure that you reach out to the team at Invisablend by visiting Invisablend.com. I will be making sure to make that link available to you, no matter if you're a customer looking to become a customer, or you're a professional who wants to get involved in this wonderful opportunity. You will certainly be able to do that through the links provided. And with all that being said, Dino, what a wonderful, magical call. Thank you so very much for joining me on the show today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.